This story literally made my nightmares as a child. This is probably the scariest true crime story I will ever tell. This is literally where the don't get in the white van, that the white creepy van, this is where that came from. To begin our story, we need to go back to 1946, Grand Rapids, Michigan. William Mansfield Sr. was accused and indicted for the rape of a 13-year-old at a movie theater. He was 21. In 1946, rape was a mild charge and no one really cared. And at trial, no one believed her. No one. So William was acquitted. 1 year later, William is charged with armed robbery and sentenced to 5 to 20 years. He was released on parole after just 4. A few years into his parole, he is accused of rape yet again in Nevada. 1974, the whole Mansfield clan moved to Hernando County, Florida. Spring Hill, to be exact. Senior and his wife had 6 kids. They moved to a 5-acre piece of land with several trailers on the land. It was a literal junkyard. I've seen it with my own eyes. There was junk cars tore apart that didn't ever run. There was refrigerators, AC units, you name it, it was out there. Over the next few years, Senior is arrested many times, from disorderly conduct to reckless misuse of a firearm, where he was seen chasing his own children down the road with a pew-pew. He was often seen cheering the boys on to fight and often instigating that sort of lifestyle. Junior was very smart, but with all the violence around, at 16, he decided to quit school and forge his birth certificate, which back then was very easy to do. And he joined the army, where he began drinking heavily. He got into drugs and alcohol and drinking very, very heavily and became a very evil person. Just 16 short months in, they realized William was too young and he had an alcohol problem, and they let him go, where he was sent back to Hernando County, Spring Hill, Florida, where he would marry his high school sweetheart, who already had 1 child, and just a few months later would get pregnant with her second. When Junior turned 18, he was accused of kidnapping 2 females and forcing them to do things that no one wants to do. That went to trial, and nobody believed that he could force 2 women to do unthinkable things together, and he was acquitted. 3 years later, Junior was charged yet again with sexual conduct of a 16-year-old, and he pled guilty and did a whopping 6 months for that one and got 3 years of probation. 1 year into the 3 years of probation, Junior was yet again accused of essay of 2 teen girls at point. Weapon point. Parole was revoked, and then he faced life. But Junior had charm and, well, luck on his side. He got another get-out-of-jail-free card because his bunkmate had confessed to murder. And he rolled right on over. He took that straight to the bank, and they gave him a 1-year time served sentence, and he was released that day, where he went to meet his family in Hernando County, Florida. The year Junior was released, Senior got arrested for over 40 counts of SA from ages 3 to 16, where he faced 30 to life. 4/26/1980, Sandra Graham went missing from a bar where she went to look for her husband. She was last seen leaving with Junior. They described him as a white male with piercing eyes. Then in June, an 18-year-old went to the police with a chilling story about how Billy forced her in his white van, took her to a trailer nearby, and tried to SA her, where she grabbed a knife, got him away from her, and ran out the door. And as she ran out the door, she threw the knife back at him and ran straight to the police department. She was walking when he forced her in the van. She ran right to the police department, and they issued a warrant immediately. But Billy was smart, and he had already took off, headed north. November 23rd, 1980, California police were able to pick him up on his Florida warrant, but he was granted bail, even though he was wanted for what he was wanted for, and had very violent crimes on his record. Even being caught in California, all the way across the United States, they gave him bail. Just 2 short weeks after he posted bail, the body of Renee was found in a drainage ditch, face down with her pants around her ankles. She had been pewed and essayed. They went to go talk to Billy, and the place where he had been staying, they had packed up and left. It was vacant. Now, in December 10th, 1980, Nevada, 2 people get pulled over. They give it's Billy and Gary, and they give false information, but the cops like, no, this is too much of a coincidence. This has to be them. This has to be them. And he arrests them. Thank goodness he did. Billy Jr. was charged with first-degree M, and he went to trial May 4th, 1981. Gary was charged with accessory after the fact, and he went to trial in August of 82. Once everybody in Florida caught wind of their arrest out in Nevada and California, they got tips left and right. The first one said they would find Sandra Graham buried on the property. 3/16/1981, so March 16th, 1981, Hernando County Sheriffs began digging, and the very next day they found one person with a thick wire around her neck, with fractures to her head. She is still considered a Jane Doe to this day. They found a second person underneath the pipes going to the well. That was 15-year-old Elaine Ziegler. She went missing December 31st, 1975 from a campground nearby. They found 2 more bodies, and one was thought to be the body of Sandra, and one was still unidentified. And they believe there's several more, but with no tips on where to dig and no leads or any clues, Hernando County has no idea where to dig. So they had to call off the search. They believed Billy would abduct these young girls, bring them to his property, and him and his dad would fulfill their sick fantasies. Senior and Junior would both essay and torment these girls and frighten them, pretty much scare them, and then they would unalive them. Where then Junior and Gary would take care of the remains. Junior said he buried them at his house because he liked having them close. Gary moved back to the property after he was released, and Senior got off of his charges 10 years in due to good behavior. He too moved back to the Spring Hill property. The property where at least 4 women had been kidnapped, tormented, and unalived. They were heavily into meth, and in October of 2020, they were charged with selling meth, and when they searched the home, they found a meth lab, fent trippies, and the tools and items to use and produce those things. And as they handcuffed Gary Mansfield, he screams, "I want full immunity." There's bodies everywhere. There has been no updates since. They did start digging the property after that, the day after they had arrested them, but I haven't heard anything, and that was in 2020, so I'm guessing they didn't find anything else. If they did, I will update you all because that's what I'm trying to do. I love each and every one of you. Have the night you deserve. Please be safe and vigilant out there. I love all you, my misfits. Thank you for listening. If you listen till the end, I love you.